So without a doubt, iRacing is the most realistic sim racer probably that you can play at home. The online gameplay is simply amazing. So then why in the world have I not played it since getting GT7 and PSVR2? This is going to be an important conversation. You might want to hang in there. And also all your comments are really appreciated because we're going to say who iRacing might be for, who GT7 might be for, why someone might pick one over the other, and why have I basically not played iRacing in months. I haven't played it in months. I've been all about GT7. So first of all, I'm the Casual Racing Gamer. This channel is about casual sim racing. I always claim I'm not the best. I'm not the fastest. I'm learning just like a lot of you guys who are watching the video, and we all learn together. So if you like to improve and get better at sim racing, I'm improving with you guys. So it would be so awesome if you guys can come with the video and subscribe if you enjoy it. So I do a lot of Gran Turismo 7 PSVR2 videos on this channel. And for the last 4 or 5 months since I owned it, that's really all I've been doing. And I've been loving it. And I'm going to explain why. But I also do iRacing videos. My channel started out with more iRacing. I've been doing iRacing since maybe 2020, 2021, but I never really got into, I never knew anything about actual sim racing, like realistic sim racing, like how cars should actually handle and things like that. It was more about like arcade games, like the NASCAR Heat Series and games like that, where it was more arcade. And I also started out doing oval. So I'm a fan of oval racing, and in iRacing, I generally did oval racing until about 4 or 5 months ago when I got GT7 and I learned how to start racing road tracks and circuit racing and stuff like that. So I've been completely turned around with the type of racing that I've done. Now, let's talk about iRacing first. iRacing is super, super realistic. So, and that's not coming from me because I have no idea. I have no idea if the car handles the way it should in real life. I don't race cars. Probably 99% of you guys don't race cars either. So you really have no idea if the car handles correctly or not. You just know that professional drivers out there will tell you that iRacing handles very similar, or for a sim racer, very close to what a real car should handle and the way the driving is. So knowing that, we go based off of that. I can't tell you, this GT4 car, this Mercedes GT4 car handles exactly like it does in real life. I can't tell you that. I have no idea. So we just go by what we hear from professional drivers who use it. And knowing that, it makes us excited, right? And it draws us into sim racing, knowing that, hey, I'm driving this next gen NASCAR that this NASCAR pro driver is using to train for their race on the weekend. So it makes you feel good, right? It gives you this like feeling that, wow, if I can drive this car in iRacing, I can drive it in real life, and I'm like this race car driver. We won't pretend we're race car drivers, but the fact of the matter is we're not race car drivers. We're not professional drivers. So there's a whole. It's not just a matter of can I play iRacing in a video game and then I can just hop onto a real track and race a car. So, but it does make us feel good. It makes us feel like, wow, if I can do this in real life, in sim racing, I can drive a race car. But we all know, we just enjoy the thought of driving a race car that people tell you drives like the actual car. So iRacing offers so much when it comes to types of racing, different styles of racing. They have road, they have NASCAR oval, they have dirt oval, they have Indy racing. So there's so much to do. So why did I go to GT7? What makes GT7 better? GT7 is definitely, considered not a sim racing game, but like a simcade game. It's arcade. It has a lot of arcade features, but it also gives you a lot of realistic handling and driving of a car. So if you actually play GT7, and I've been learning all my road tracks in GT7, like I said, I only did oval in iRacing really until I went to GT7, where I actually started learning how to do road tracks. And you can actually, if you look at my past videos, you'll actually see my progression through all this just from GT7. But I can now go to iRacing and do road. But I haven't. Why haven't I gone back to iRacing? So iRacing has different levels of licenses, and then they give you different safety ratings. So as your safety rating goes up, your license goes up. They have a license, it's like rookie, then it goes D, C, B, and A. And as you go up in different licenses, you can always race things at lower licenses. But the license that you're in, only certain races go in certain licenses. So different class cars go in different licenses. So you actually have to move up your license, and the more things you can actually race and participate in. It's not the same races in all the different licenses. It's actually completely different races, different cars. And as you move up, iRacing costs a lot of money. You need to purchase tracks. They give you stuff to start out with, but you need to purchase tracks. You need to purchase cars. If I went into road racing, into iRacing, and I'm not giving up on iRacing. I'm definitely going to be going back to iRacing, but I would need to purchase a lot of the road tracks. I need to purchase the GT4 cars, the GT3 cars. They don't just give you that stuff. They give you stuff when you're in a rookie class and to start out, but you don't get that. You don't get everything as you move up. There's a lot of purchasing that has to happen. You can spend anywhere from like $10 to $15 on a track, on a car. You just got to keep buying stuff. Races run all week long, so at least you stay at that track for the week until the following week goes. Now I just do online racing. So now GT7 only offers GT7 offers like a story mode, and it offers some online racing. Now I don't do story mode. I'm not really interested in AI racing. For me, it's all about online racing and racing real other drivers. To me, that just gets your heart pumping. It's more competitive to me, and it just makes you feel a little bit better than beating a bunch of other real drivers than beating the AI. It's just something. There's just something. It makes you feel like you're a real driver, really winning races here. But besides that, so GT7 is so simplified, and there's so many things I honestly don't like about it. But for some reason, the things I don't like about it also keep me hooked into it, I guess, a little bit. It sounds really weird. So when you're doing online racing in Gran Turismo 7, do you only have like 3 online races? Now they do have lobbies where people create races and you can join lobbies, but the official races, there's the race A, a race B, and a race C, and it goes all week the same race. And there's 2 official races, which is B and C, and A is not an official race. But it also works the same as iRacing. You have a safety rating and you have a driver rating. So the better drivers, the better you move up in the safety rating and the better you move up in your driver rating. And I'm going to be honest here, because a lot of people don't like GT7 online racing because there's dirty drivers, there's people punting you on purpose and things like that. But as I progressed and got to a higher level of rated a driver rating of a B, and my safety rating has always been up high, I'm getting really clean races. I'm not dealing with booting, people just booting you in corners, running hard, diving into corners into you. I'm not really getting any of that now, which is really good. I'm getting a lot of clean races. Now, will there be bad drivers? Of course. And going back to iRacing, there's bad drivers in iRacing. I don't think there's as many dirty drivers in iRacing. So this is a big difference here. In iRacing, you're not going to deal with a lot of cars where they're just going to try to punch you and they're just going to try to run you off the road. I think you deal with that a lot less, but there's also a lot of bad drivers. So you will get taken out often just from driving mistakes. Again, it's a game. We're not professional drivers. And don't think if you go to iRacing that the racing is so much better that people don't make mistakes. People make a ton of mistakes. You can run 10 races and get wrecked in all 10 races. It's not because people purposely try to wreck you. It's just because things happen and there are bad drivers. People don't know how to really drive race cars, and there's just a lot of things that people just don't know how to do. Even professional drivers wreck each other all the time. So it's a common thing for pro drivers. One thing with GT7 is there's no real damage in a car. If your car gets crashed out, you get like a really short thing your car might handle not correctly for maybe like 10, 15 seconds, and then it's back to normal. So there's also less risk if someone wrecks you, that because their car is not really going to wreck out of a race. If you do that in iRacing and you crash someone or wreck someone, your car is going to take damage and you might take yourself out of the race. Your car probably is not going to run. You have to go into the pits. iRacing has real damage, real pits. If your car gets damaged and sometimes you have 5 minutes left in a race, but the damage to fix your car is so bad it will take 15 minutes. You're out of the race. You can't go back in the race. Depending on the damage, it can be a 3-minute damage repair, and the race only has 4 minutes left. So you're taking yourself out. So there's a lot more risk in people trying to wreck you in an actual race. GT7 being more of a simcade doesn't have those wrecks and damage where your car will get taken out of a race completely. So that's one thing that also is, to me, is it's kind of a negative. but it's also a positive because you get to stay in the race. So if you make a mistake or if someone makes a mistake and hits you, you're not going to be taken out of the race. You're going to remain in the race. You're going to stay in the race, and your car takes really small damage for a little bit, and then it's running 100% again, and you're good to go. So, that's like something where I look at like as a negative, but it's also a positive. So it's a good and a bad there for me. As far as damage goes, I think I like the real damage in iRacing because it makes it a little more exciting and more realistic, but it's also good when you're not going to wreck out of a race and you can actually complete a race. Now, the thing in GT7 and iRacing is iRacing, you have, before every race, you have a qualifying. You do qualifying, 2-lap qualifyings, and you do laps, and that will be a qualifying time for that race coming up. In GT7, you do qualifying. You just run qualifying laps, and the best lap time that you run will always be your starting grid qualifying lap. So if you just keep running hot laps and hot laps and hot laps, it'll take your best time, and that best time will continue to be for the week, will be your starting grid time. In iRacing, you can have a great qualifying lap. You go race like 3 hours later and you have a bad qualifying lap. You're going to be back. You're going to be front. You're always going to move around. In GT7, your qualifying lap, unless you just keep improving it, and you can always keep improving it, but then it sticks. So whatever your qualifying lap is, it sticks for every race that week, and you can keep running and doing better, and you can improve on your qualifying lap. I hate that, but I love it. I hate the idea that people can run a really good lap lucky once, and that will be their qualifying lap, and they'll start at the front of the pack. Because if they ran qualifying laps before a race, they might get nowhere near that qualifying lap that took them 2 hours to get to, and that's their best lap, and they got lucky. But that's where they stick, and they can get pole because of it for the whole week because they ran this awesome qualifying lap. Where in iRacing, it's going to vary because you have to run a qualifying before every race. And I like the idea. But the thing I like about GT7, where you run that one qualifying, is I love just running hot laps now. I love just trying to beat my time. And I love also, because I'm friended with so many of you guys in the community here, that I love actually just grinding and trying to see where your times are and just trying to improve myself. And it helps me know where I need to be, where I should be. And I just like actually grinding hot laps now. And it's so weird, but it's so exciting. I spend way more time grinding hot laps and getting a good qualifying time than I do actually racing, I think. I think I almost find it just as fun, just trying to beat my time and just improve and get better as a driver. And so it kind of gives me another game in the game. It's kind of weird, and I think some of you guys might actually feel the same way about qualifying and hot laps, but to me, it actually adds a little more to the game. What else does GT7 have? So GT7 has 3 races going on, right? And it's the same race, so it doesn't matter what your driver rating is. You do get matched up usually with people, around your skill level and driver rating, but everyone races the same track. So they give you the car, they give you the track, and then everyone races the track for that week. So there's 3 tracks. It doesn't matter what driver rating you are racing that same track. It's not like you race different tracks based on your driver rating. So there's less to do, but I also think there's something fun about that, because you get really good at one track. With iRacing, I feel like I have so much to do. I don't know where to run, what I'm going to run. I don't get great at one thing because there's so many different options. And I think if I went back to iRacing, I might just focus on, and I'm going to go back doing, obviously I'm going to be doing road stuff. And I just need to focus on one track for the week, because you get very carried away because there's so many different races going on in iRacing where you don't get those options in GT7. So you have to basically focus on 1 or 2 tracks for the week and get good at them. Where iRacing gives you so many options, and options is a good thing. I don't want to make this sound bad. Options is a good thing. You just need to be able to focus yourself and maybe just stick with one thing for the week and get really good at it, and then just race that. But now, single races, if you're just going to race one track, they don't happen as fast as they do in GT7. GT7, every like 10 or 15 minutes, you can do the same race again. You end the race, and in like 10 minutes starts the next race. In iRacing, depending on where you go, which track or what that is, you might have to wait another hour for the next race. You might have to wait like 2 hours, depending how often the race that you're doing is happening. So you might want to take up more than one race to mix up all the times, depending on how much you want to run. So that's something important there. What else with GT7? So it's not realistic, because also if cars spin out and things like that, they ghost. So they basically turn into a ghost and you can drive through the car. So if a car is going to spin out in front of you, that car ghosts and the car behind it can basically drive through that car with no damage or anything. It basically just drives through the car. Lapped cars will turn into ghosts. And I think that's kind of, I think that's probably one of the things I don't like the most. I wish there was real damage. When a car spins out, like I feel like part of racing is how to avoid that car that's spinning out, that you don't hit them, but instead they ghost and you can basically just drive right through them. And this is what really keeps this game as a simcade and not an arcade racer. I mean, not an actual sim racing game, but an arcade racing game, an arcade sim game, because again, it does drive pretty realistically. But there's just things that hold it back. But what's the bottom line? The VR with PSVR2 and the Quest 2, they both look great. I can't recommend one headset over the other. I love racing iRacing in the Quest 2, and it looks just as good as me racing GT7 and PSVR2. So that's not even a thought in my mind that one of the VR headsets look better than the other. I enjoy racing both of them in VR, and they both look really good. And for that, and I can start iRacing within 5 minutes. I'm up and running in VR. So the big thing with people say, with PC VR, you have to mess with all these settings. It takes so long to get up and going and all of that. But I don't find that at all. I can literally put my computer on it. It's booted up in like 20 seconds. Hook my headset right in, and I'm in iRacing. Literally within like 3 minutes, I'm up and running in iRacing. iRacing also, you can have third-party things, so you can have crew chief and you have like all these spotters and things, and it's very helpful. But GT7, you don't get that, and that's one thing I really miss in GT7. I don't have a spotter. I don't have someone tell me what to do when there's a car on my right or my left. That's a big thing with iRacing, which I find really, really helpful. Another thing in iRacing is pits. When you pit, you pit for real. You drive down pit lane. You have to keep your pit lane speed. With GT7, it goes to once you drive into pit lane, it goes into a video, and you're not doing anything. It's all automated for you. That's one thing I wish they gave us, real pit lane, driving down, pulling into your pit, pulling out of your pit. But that's something that they don't have. iRacing does. So it sounds like iRacing has everything, right? Why would I go to GT7? Well, for me, not being like a pro driver, GT7 is just fun. It's just a really fun game. It has a really big community. I have so much fun just racing hot laps against your guys' times and just seeing where you guys get to, where I can get to. Hopping into races quickly, 10-minute races, 15-minute races. I can then be done and hop into another race within 5 minutes after that. And I can really do a lot of races really quick because they're not long races and they run very, very often. And it's a fun game. It's just a fun game. I don't need the most realistic sim. I do appreciate iRacing for the realism of it. And I'm not giving up on iRacing. I'm totally going to be going back to iRacing. And if you guys want to see iRacing videos mixed in with my GT7 stuff, leave it down in the comments. Now, I also play, I've done some Assetto Corsa videos. I've done some Automobilista 2, but the online for me doesn't keep my interest in it. And so it's really between iRacing and GT7. So is one better than the other? I don't think so. What kind of experience do you want? GT7 is just a fun game. It's not as realistic as iRacing, 100%, but you can have so much fun. It's lots of fun. Does it have things I don't like about it? Yes, but it's really weird because the things I don't like about it, I also love about it. So it's kind of strange, but it's just something fun about it. iRacing, I feel like I'm a little more serious when I'm racing it. I feel, I don't know, there's just something different that makes it more real. It's more realism, more realistic. And for the casual sim racer like myself, I don't necessarily need that realism. I love it. I love iRacing. It's great for so many people. And like I said, I will still be racing iRacing, but that doesn't mean I can't race a GT7. I've just been so addicted to GT7 lately that it kind of didn't grab me and say, like, iRacing didn't say, no, you need to come back to iRacing. Like, GT7 is not fun. GT7 has just held my interest. It just held me there. And like, iRacing hasn't screamed, come back to me today. You don't know what you're missing. Because I've just been having so much fun. So which is better? It depends what you're looking for. It depends what kind of fun you're looking for. more casual, more quicker, more just, it's an arcade sim, but you're still getting the sim feeling. If you drive good in GT7 and learn how to handle cars and learning your braking control and learning your braking markers and how to handle a car through turns and how to use the course, all of that will translate into iRacing. So, you can go into iRacing with the skills you learn in GT7 and race just as good. You can be racing GT7. You can be racing iRacing, go to GT7. The skills are going to transfer between both. Like Automobilista 2, Assetto Corsa, Competizione. Like those games never grabbed me from iRacing. I played them a little bit here and there, and I always jumped back right to iRacing. They would just kind of just like sat there. But with GT7, it grabbed me. It hooked me in. It's really exciting. I love playing it, but that is just my opinion, depending on what you're looking for. So, guys, leave me a comment if you've been in my situation, or if you've done what I said, or if you've gone from one to the other or the other to one, or if you play both. Leave comments below. It's so helpful to other people that'll be reading these comments. And I just wanted to have a conversation about the two different sim racing games and the things I like and don't like between them. But that I think that's all I have to say. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thumb it up, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. We out of here. Peace.